Hello and welcome to the week ahead update with myself, David Madden. Now before we take a look at the major events of next week, let's take a moment to quickly recap the major events of the week just gone. We saw a spike in US government bond yields earlier this week. In fact, the US 10-year yield briefly traded above 4%, its highest level in 14 years. And with that, we saw a sharp sell-off in US stock markets. As we can see here, the UT100 was in a clear downward trend and it fell to its lowest level in 3 months. We did also see declines in the Dow Jones, the S&P 500, and also markets in Europe in addition to that. Looking ahead to next week, the UT100 and other US stock markets isn't going to remain in focus because on Friday we have the all-important US non-farm payrolls report. Now, the last US jobs report was actually fairly well received. It showed that 315,000 jobs were added, well above expectations. Economists were predicting 295,000 jobs, but keep in mind that the reading of 315,000 was its lowest reading in 8 months. So there are some signs that although the US labour market is continuing to grow, it has appeared to be growing at a slower pace. In addition to that, the most recent US non-farm payrolls report showed that the unemployment rate ticked up from 3.5%, which was a 2-year low, to 3.7%. So in the grand scheme of things, the US labour market is still quite strong. It's just not as strong as it once was. So looking at the price action of the UT100, we can see it's been in a fairly clear downward trend. It recently hit a 3-month low. While it continues to hold below these 3 simple moving averages, it's likely the longer term downward trend will continue. A move lower from here could see it retest 11,036, and a break below that could see it back down towards 11,000, and then the next big level to watch out for below that will be 10,000. Looking at the price action in the last 8 to 12 hours, we can see the market has rebounded from its multi-month low. Looking at the RSI, we can see it's moving higher, indicating the price bias is to the upside, and then beyond that, indicating the price bias is to the upside. If we do see a continuation of this short-term upward move in the UT100, resistance might be encountered at 11,349, and a break beyond that could see a target 11,549. Also, what's coming up this week is the Australian Central Bank, the Reserve Bank of Australia, the RBA, will announce its interest rate decision. Now, in the week just gone, what I mentioned a moment ago, we had a sharp rise in the US 10-year yield when it hit 4%. That sharp upward move in the US 10-year yield also pushed up the US dollar index to a 20-year high. So we saw a broad rally in the US dollar, and as a result, we saw a sharp move to the downside in AUDUSD. So the Australian dollar versus the US dollar lost a lot of ground this week because of the sharp rise seen in the US dollar. We have seen a bit of a bounce back in the past 24 to 48 hours, and as I mentioned, the Reserve Bank of Australia will announce their interest rate decision on Tuesday. Now, of course, the update will be closely watched and it could inject volatility into the markets. Looking at the price action of the AUD versus the USD, we can see here it's been in a very strong downward trend recently, so the longer term trend is clearly lower for the currency pair. While it continues to hold below these 2 simple moving averages, it's likely the longer term downward trend will continue. If you move lower from here, we could look to retest 0 spot 64.35, and a break below that could see a target 0 spot 36.60, 0 spot 63.63, 0 spot 63.63. Look at the price action in the past 48 hours. We can see the market has rebounded. Looking at the RSI, we can see it's moving higher, indicating the price bias is to the upside. And looking at the MACD indicator, momentum is in positive territory, implying the bulls are in control. If we do see a continuation of this short-term upward move in the AUD/USD, it might encounter resistance at 0 spot 65.30, and a break beyond that could see a target 0 spot 65.90. So just to recap, on Tuesday we have the Reserve Bank of Australia interest rate decision, and on Friday we have the US non-farm payrolls report.